everybody. How are you, my friends? And welcome to another edition of our Heart to Heart podcast. We are here celebrating the game that is sweeping the nation right now. I have Mahjong fever, and just like I told you all, I was going to bring it to Miami. Well, there was no need for me to bring it to Miami because we have Miami's very own Mahjong Sherpa, Brooke Lam, in the house today to talk to us all about this love of the game. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Christy.
Thank you so much for being here today
Thank you for having me.
and spreading the word.
Yes, I love that you love Mahjong.
I love Mahjong so much. I learned how to play this summer, and I promised that I was going to bring it to Miami. Lo and behold, it was already here. I had no idea that the beginning of Mahjong also had ties to Miami, so I am so excited for you to get into everything. But before we do, I want to hear all about how you became a Mahjong instructor, and please introduce yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Brooke Lam. I have a very varied past in terms of things that I've done, various businesses. I'm born and raised in Miami, so I've been here forever. And Mahjong to me kind of encapsulated everything that I've done in a very strange way to most people because they think of it literally as a game. However, I have a past history I'm an attorney, call myself a recovering attorney.
I like
I have had different types of businesses from store boutiques to things with wellness. And I've had an education company for the past 15 plus years of tutoring middle school and high school students. So this actually originated, this idea, a little over a year ago. I was playing Mahjong with a couple of my friends, or three of my friends, and I was talking to them about some business coaching that I was doing for women. I was trying to teach how you can have a passion-based business that, regardless of how many degrees or certifications you have, that something you love, something you have a passion about is really what you can turn any business into, and how to create that. And while doing it, I was using Mahjong as an example. And while we were talking about it, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start this business. So I was kind of originally using it as a test case on showing people how you can make really anything you love into a business. And I happened to do it at a time where it now has been having its moment. It was, like I said, it was a little over a year ago. So I was kind of on the cusp of that. And so it's been really cool and exciting to see how it's taking off and how much people are enjoying it because I've been playing it myself for like 10 years now, I feel like. So,
amazing. Well, I learned how to play this summer in Colorado with a local Texan, and Texas is all the rage on the game, and they are playing it in every corner, every city, every county. She taught me how to play. She told me it's not so much about the game, but it's about your gorgeous table, and you have brought some beautiful pieces here today. And one thing that I love about this game is the beauty that you are enjoying. Like, it's not just a tile. Every tile you encounter is just gorgeous, and it's got its own story, its own theme, and it's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful landscape to play, and it also, I think, it relaxes you and it makes it just that more special to play. So I want to get all into it right now. I know that you are a Sherpa. You are an instructor and a teacher. I am so hesitant to show my friends about it because they find it so intimidating. But really, once you start playing, it's not that hard. It's everything has a learning curve, but it's easier than it looks. So I was hoping that you could start by showing everybody just a very easy rudimentary beginner class to show them that it's not as intimidating as it looks.
for sure, I can definitely go into the tiles. I think everybody walks in at the beginning and thinks that it seems very, very complicated. And I think the overwhelm at first comes from just an immense amount of rules that really were very much instituted if you really go back to them because people were cheating. So every single rule kind of keeps that from happening and keeps the game fair. And, I know we're going to talk a lot about friendship and things like that, but I think in some ways the rules are just to keep the game friendly. Of course, it's different how you carry out those rules and how you talk
Sure.
about the rules, right?
Sure.
But it's to make it that there's no question of what's right or wrong. You just play by the rules, and it's not like, well, how come she got away with it and I'm not? How you like her more? It's all just about being friendly, right?
Right.
So that's really behind the rules, and I think a lot of people are intimidated by that. Rightfully so. It's a lot at first, but it's like anything else in life. You practice it and then, it becomes much easier. But we can definitely talk about the tiles. So,
Tiles and the card, because I think the card is just as important because that is the rule maker, kind of, right?
yes.
Can you talk about how you find out where you go get your rules, where you get the card? The card is a very important aspect, and I know you and I have spoken about it. I've actually heard people that say, I wasn't invited to a game because I didn't bring my card. So talk about the card
So
before
the
we get into the tile.
Sure.
Yeah.
The card is an absolute necessity for the game because it's basically what standardizes the game. It's what makes American Mahjong, or one of the things that makes it American Mahjong, because, we can go back and talk about history, but the game originated as Chinese Mahjong, which is a different game than American Mahjong. So when it came over to America and started morphing into American Mahjong, it was the early 1930s when this National Mahjong League was created with the intent of standardizing the game. So basically, the way that the card is it shows you every single year what hands you can play to win, right? So if you're playing a card that's different from everybody else, you're playing different hands. You're playing with a totally different mindset, and it would take away a lot of the strategy of the game, because once you learn how to play, then you want to start being a defensive player.
Sure.
So you have to be playing off the same cards to be trying to figure out what other people are playing.
Right.
One of the coolest things about the card, in my opinion, is that it changes every year. So no matter how long you're playing this game, every year there's something new to look forward to, a new challenge. It keeps it fresh. But you do need the card because it has, with all of its variations, probably about 1,000 different ways that you can win and play. So that's why it's overwhelming. Because when you first look at it, it's like a jumble of numbers and letters and colors, and you have to learn how to read the card.
Right. Start the new year with heart and incredible flavor. Head to the Heartful Living website to secure your $39 bottle of fresh pressed olive oil from the Olive Oil Hunter. If you're willing to pay just $1 to help cover shipping, this exclusive offer is yours. Fresh flavor, fresh year, fresh start. Let's pour more goodness into our days, one drizzle at a time. So, number one, get yourself a Mahjong card.
Yes.
And you have to get the official card. And I found out that the only way to get the official card is through the National Mahjong League website, because a lot of people sell fakes.
This is true. Yes. The National Mahjong League website, which is nationalmahjongleague.org, they sell their cards.
Okay.
I tell people, January, you go on the website and you order your card for the year. They usually don't come out until about March. It's like a big reveal when everybody gets their new card. But there's a ton of copies that are on Amazon and other places. And I was teaching somebody the other day, and one of the hands that they were playing was wrong. It was wrong on the card. It had an extra number somewhere. So if they had called Mahjong, they would not have won because they were playing with the wrong card. So I love Amazon.
Right.
But for Mahjong cards, it's better to go to the National Mahjong League. They're the ones that actually put them out. And for our purposes in my company and our events, we always bring cards that are always there for new players. That they can use until they get their card. But yes, in order to practice, in order to play outside with your friends, you have to have the card.
The card is $15, and you become a member of the National Mahjong League when you get the card. And it always comes out on Lunar New Year,
Yes.
which I think is just a
Very
fun
cool.
tidbit. Okay, so we've got the card. That's the first part of the game. The other part of the game that you need are the tiles.
Yes.
Now let's talk about tiles.
Okay. So similarly to a deck of cards, all of our numbered tiles in the game are categorized by suits. So we have 3 main suits. So all of our numbered tiles are categorized in suits similarly to a deck of cards, except in Mahjong we have 3 main suits. So the first suit that we're going to talk about are called our cracks, CRAK. It's actually short for character. because on any single set, you're going to see some type of Asian characters on the tiles for cracks. They will look different on different sets. There are so many modern, beautiful types of sets that are out now. Some of them, like the one I'm showing here today, are they tend to be a little bit more traditional, but are more modernized in some of the graphics and the colors. And then there's some sets out now that are very, very themey. So
Oh, I love them.
me too. And I actually I talk about one of my themey ones, which is the Taylor Swift set when I'm explaining things about the tiles because it shows you how no matter what you're playing on, you can look for certain things to tell which tile you're looking at. So if we look at cracks, again, they're always going to have the different type of symbol on them, the character, which actually signifies the number itself. So our numbered tiles in the crack suit are numbered 1 through 9, and we always have 4 identical tiles. And in each suit, we have a dragon. So in the crack suit, we have what's called the red dragon. That's our first suit. Then we have our dots. Our dot suit will typically always be circular. So you can see different dots, different circles. Going back to Taylor Swift, they use disco balls, right? Circular things that you can see to show that they're dots. I've had sets that there's like a New York City set, which I love, and they use apples for the dots. So you're always kind of looking for that type of a graphic to know what your dots are. And again, these are 1 through 9. You have 4 identical tiles, and then the dragon that goes with the dots is actually called the soap, just like a bar of soap, and it would typically look bar-like. And I always say to kind of remember that they go together like soap and bubbles, but you don't want to call it a 1 bubble or a 2 bubble, which has happened before in some of my lessons. They are dots, but it helps remember that the soap goes with them. And then our third suit is called our BAM, and BAM is short for bamboo. So you'll typically see something that's more long, plant-like, bamboo-like. Um, if we look back at Taylor Swift and her set, they look like guitars. So they have like that long type of elongated graphic to know that it's BAM. So again, 1 through 9, and then we have our dragon for our BAMs. Our is our green dragon. So thinking of green to remember like plants. And then that closes out our suits in terms of our numbered tiles. Then we have a few different types of tiles. We have another category that's known as our winds. The winds are directional type tiles. We have north, east, west, and south. These are an example of
Ooh,
some
those
of
are
them.
beautiful.
And they just have like the N's, the E's, the W's, or the S. They're known a lot in Maj as the news tiles. And then our final tiles, we have 2 different types. We have our flowers. So flowers look very different on different sets. Flowers don't even necessarily look like each other. They're usually similar, but they're often different colors. They are the same. Flowers are flowers. They're equal to each other in terms of, a value of what they are. Some of the more traditional sets, especially the originals, did have or do have numbers on the flowers. Some of them have seasons written on the flowers. If you have a set like that, you ignore the numbers and the seasons when you're playing American Mahjong. And these are special tiles that we have 8 of. And then our final tiles, which is also unique to American Mahjong, are our jokers, which we also have 8 of. The tile that everybody wants to get. And that's it.
Brooke, I just noticed that you didn't show any blanks.
I did not show any blanks.
Why?
So I actually have a strong but friendly opinion about blanks.
Tell me.
So in your sets, you will get tiles that are blank. They are there to be replacement tiles. If you lose something, you can use it as a replacement for whatever you lose of your sets, especially these sets. They can be pricey, so you don't want to have to start over. A lot of people have incorporated blanks into their game, especially in certain locations. There is something when you're playing mahjong, there's something called the National Mahjong League rules, and there's something called table rules or house rules, right? So if you're at your table of your friends and your 4 people, you can play however you want. And usually if you go to a game at somebody's home, like you want to ask them, what are your table rules if you're joining their game to know how they might play something differently. Some people like to play with blanks.
I do.
People like to play with blanks because it makes the game easier, right?
Yes.
So, National Mahjong League rules do not use blanks. It's not part of the game. You can't use them in any kind of National Mahjong League rule activity, tournament, anything like that. The way I see it, and I can understand why people like playing because the game's complicated at first, so
Right.
right? Um, but it's like anything else in life that, you think about what you're doing and something that you have a crutch for or that you're bending the rules for, it takes away some of the value of the game. When we talk about strategy and the brain health and all these types of things of part of why people are playing mahjong, making it easier takes away a lot. And it does take a lot of the strategy out of the game. So that's why I don't teach with blanks because I like people to see everything up front. They see the rules, they know how to play correctly. And because it's a standardized game in terms of any of our events, the league, we just play by National Mahjong League rules. So
Is the Joker in play?
a joker's definitely in play. Yes.
No.
But 8 jokers. So also when you buy a new set, many of them come with 10. Same reason, though, it's there to be extra in terms of American Mahjong. You're not supposed to play with 10. I know that there's some games that they're like, let's throw in the extra jokers, right? 'Cause it makes it easier. Everybody loves a joker.
New year, new glow with Harbin House. Harbin House is an authorized retailer of the best scientific skincare and clean beauty products. They are proud to be a small business that offers better service and faster processing than the big box stores you know. They are also proud partners of Heartful Living. Enjoy 20% off your Harbin House favorites with code HEARTFUL20. Treat your skin to the quality it deserves as we step into a fresh new year. Well, and
Yeah.
I'd say if you're starting too, I think having a blank and a choker in your beginner hands really helps you just get more familiar with your patterns in your card
Right.
also.
I think that I can see putting in extra jokers. The blanks change the game, though, because of, things with calling, things with being able to go
Sure.
back, missing the card. Very much the strategy, especially with singles and pairs and
Sure.
things like that. So I'm kind of a stickler about the blanks.
It's a no when we play with Brooke.
Yes.
That blanks are not her
Yes.
favorite.
Yes, play with blanks all you want, but there's other ways to practice
Not in
the
your
card also. Not at my house, not at my table.
So what's the purpose of mahjong?
So, I mean, the purpose of mahjong to me may be the purpose to other people. I mean, it's a game like anything else, right? But is so rich in tradition. It's so rich in history, right? So you see, like, why has it lasted so long? Why has it morphed so much? Why is it taking off so much? To me, there's parallels to life. There's life lessons. It's amazing for your brain. It's amazing for your mental health. It's amazing for connection. Um, I really started this because I felt that when I left a mosh table with friends,
Yes.
I felt physically different. I felt mentally different. And I think that, I originally started this called the Maj Mom Club because I felt like moms were screaming with a need, especially I think post
Yeah.
COVID of this everybody coming back full force and getting so busy. And there's so much talk now about mental load and everything that goes on that the Mosh table is like the ultimate wellness hack to me.
I love that. And we can
So,
talk about this.
yes.
It slows life down.
Yes, it slows life down. It's connection with your friends. It's connection with new people. I've met so many new people through Maj. And one of the most interesting things is a lot of them might be people that I probably wouldn't either come in contact with or maybe wouldn't even have a lot in common with to talk about or to have a connection with. But we can all sit down at a mahjong table and play and really enjoy each other's company for 2 hours because we're focused on something else. I think so many female relationships have for years revolved around, going out, socializing, let's go get a drink or let's eat or whatever. And we bring that to the Maj table now. You're welcome to if you want,
Sure.
but it gives something else. It's something else to focus on other than, everything else that goes on in life. And it forces you to take this mental break from the constant spinning of everything that's going on, the to-do list, the things that you have to do. and it forces you to focus. And one of my favorite things about it is it doesn't involve screens.
Right? It's funny, before we go back, because I wanna go back and just circle back to how that connected with how this all started,
Mhm.
but, about the screens, a lot of people say, "Yeah, I play mahjong on apps." It has nothing to do with the game. They're like, "Is it just like the app?" I go, "Yeah, but no, not at all." But
So there's some apps that people think they're playing this game on that are more like a matching type of a game,
yeah, that one.
right? And then and then they come in and they're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. Or, oh, I told my husband I was coming for a lesson. And he's like, what? It's a matching game.
Right.
So there's that, which is nothing with this game.
Right.
And then there are some websites that I think are really helpful for practice when you're first learning to keep that repetitiveness going, to practice rules, to practice hands, and to practice playing, because you can't always sit down with four people and
Sure.
play. If you do own a set, there's ways you can practice as well. But that's it's more of to do to help or to practice, or in the meantime you're traveling, whatever it is, right? Instead of the the regular game itself.
Right. So I wanna circle back because you mentioned that, this brings everybody to the table together to compartir is the Spanish word, to partake, sorry,
Yeah.
to partake in something that everybody knows how to play, and that's actually how mahjong came to Miami, is it not?
Yes, the origin story, the National Mahjong League that was created in, the early 1930s, there was a group of 5 Jewish women that decided we need to standardize this game, and a lot of it was because of this travel between New York and South Florida, and being able to, no matter where you were, play with the same rules, the same hands, the same intention. So from the very beginning, it was about trying to bring more people to the table, be connected, be a level playing field type of a situation.
So there you have it, Miami was involved from day one.
It was involved from day one, and that's been an interesting kind of thing with bringing Maj to Miami, an interesting challenge even, because there's a lot of people that know how to play mahjong here.
Uh-huh.
A lot of traditional players. I mean, I've played for 10 years. I found very few people that I knew that were my age when I learned that knew how to play. But there's a stigma with the game of the grandma game,
Right.
right? So that came because of this back and forth, New York, Miami, and roots in South Florida of how the game originated. And it was very much at kitchen tables and sitting at night in houses. And, some people would say they remember hearing the clinking of the tiles and the
Mhm.
chirping of the tiles. But bringing it now to new people,
Yeah.
and you mentioned Texas and how it's kind of evolved there, it's taken on a new life, and so now it's kind of introducing people who have this longstanding history to the game with some of these other ways of integrating social events and coming out and leagues and things like that
Right.
they're not used to associating with the game.
Sure.
So it's been a different challenge in a
Right.
way.
Of course.
So
But, speak no further because Brooke, along with her friend Gabby, the Tile Society, is launching a Miami Maj League. Thank
we
you.
are. We are, yes. Gabby is another mahjong instructor in Miami, and we co-launched. It's called Maj and Miami. So Maj and Miami is focused on bringing Maj social events around Miami. So we partner with different restaurants, different stores, different locations. Like we can do our stuff anywhere. Anybody that wants to partake and bring people into their space. And we do different types of group events. So we've done different types of theme parties. Like we were planning a Halloween party for Maj and things like that, and holiday parties. And then also the league. So the league is something it's just supposed to add like a new dimension to mahjong, right? A lot of people like to get together, they play with their friends, or it's more casual. This is a friendly, and I emphasize friendly,
We're gonna
uh,
talk about that now.
friendly way to open up eyes to more of the competitive aspect of the game in terms of scoring and how defensive play kind of comes very much into the game and almost changes it a little bit when your sole focus isn't just winning Maj first. Sometimes you're sacrificing your hand to keep somebody else from winning Maj when you're dealing with scoring. And we do prizes, and it's supposed to help people set dates on their calendar that they know that they're coming to play. They can meet new friends. They can bring their friends. It's, you don't have to worry about cleaning your house, having somebody taking care of your kids, having your husband leaving, to go somewhere else,
Mhm.
putting out food for everyone, cleaning up after, right? You show up, we set up all the tables. And it's been a really fun experience so far. And a lot of people have met new people, and we hope that it will grow and that more people will join us over time.
Well, I'm in. I've slowly been teaching my friends and kind of indoctrinating and brainwashing, if you will, for them to join me at the league. But you don't need any friends to go to your league.
You do not need any friends. That's one of the advantages is that you can come, you place the tables. Our league by design has different people playing with everybody that's there so that it's more fair in terms of the scoring.
Right.
Obviously, you're welcome to come with your friends. We let everybody request one friend at a table at a time for the league. We do have other types of events where you can come as a table of 4 if you want, or you can come by yourself if you want, and we make the tables. So it's, very adaptive in that way. We know some people like to play with their game, but they want to get out. Some people want to be with new people. So,
That's great. I am so excited. And I just want to touch up on the fact that you mentioned it's friendly
yes.
because I had an experience a lot of the Heartful Living community knows with a woman named Linda in Bryant Park in New York. And I was just trying to spread the love of the game with a friend, my friend Megan, who had never played before. We heard that all beginners were welcome to go to Bryant Park one day, and it was just an open play session. She didn't know how to play, so I kind of decided to just sit behind and kind of show her how to play just so that I could, you know, give her the love of Maj that I had, and we got thrown out. And it really put a damper, I think, on Megan's future play because they had told her, "You don't know how to play, you gotta sit and just watch. You'll learn by just watching," and I thought that was so unfair. And they were offering the tiles, they were offering the cards. I mean, they were trying to be very inclusive, but they didn't want a beginner there, really, truly, or I think they didn't want a teacher there.
Mhm.
So, have you encountered that same, I don't want to say nastiness, but it was, like, not nice?
No, I have encountered in a different way, one of my very, very early times of playing years ago, after learning the rules, I went to kind of more of an open play that I was put with random people at a table, and I was playing with an older woman who knew how to play really well, and I was very taken aback with her there was a rule that I didn't know, and it was immediate like, "You're dead," very aggressively,
Oy.
and, I see the other side of things now that I've gotten so much more into this and knowing the rules and knowing how to run leagues and sessions and everything. You do have to get comfortable with the fact that your hands might be dead, right? We have to come up with a different way to say it. But your hand might be dead. It's like any other game,
No
right?
longer in play.
It, it's like any other game, right? You're playing dodgeball and you get hit with the ball, like you're out,
Right,
right?
right.
So we do it with a lot of other games. So I think people just need to be a little bit more comfortable with that aspect of it. But there's a way to say and do things, and that is part of why we do follow not National Mahjong League rules when we play things like that, is because everything to the minute detail is written down as an exception and a rule because it's been so many years of playing that they've seen it
Right,
all, I guess.
right.
And so it makes it that there's an answer to everything that happens. And if you just follow the rules kindly, and I emphasize kindly, then and you accept them. I've had instances where some players have said to me, you know, they're not following the rules, but they're not accepting it and
Sure.
having their hand be out, right? So anybody that comes to any of our things, we ask like needs please be friendly, right? If you're in this just about the game and it's going to be upsetting to you if somebody is a little slower or if somebody, whatever it is, you can't speak kindly, then it's not the right space. It's not the vibe that,
Right.
for us, it's we wanna play and we want people to get better. but we want this to be a community of kindness where everybody feels comfortable. I know when we say the word league, initially everybody's like, "Oh, I can't come to a league. Like,
Right.
that's too much. I'm not ready." Right.
Right.
And as long as you know how to play and you know the main rules, like, you're ready, you know?
Well, and the reality is, apart from this being fun, you've already said it. There's so many wellness benefits to it. Why are you going to put any animosity or any anger or any nastiness towards something that could be so good for you?
Right.
And there's so many parallels, like you mentioned, the game to life. I know my friend Carrie Scotty, who's my Sherpa, the one that taught me to play, she has it put in her calendar as every whenever she plays, I think it's Wednesday nights, she puts, okay, I'm going to my National Alzheimer's Prevention game.
Mhm.
And that's her therapy and that's her wellness and that's what she does to keep her mind sharp.
Yeah.
No negativity for that.
No.
We don't we're not mean to people when they go to therapy, and essentially when you come to the table, you're going to therapy.
Right. No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So, it's with anything in life. I think everybody has forgotten sometimes how to be kind, right? So it's just the way the delivery, the way you say things, and we're there as instructors always to, help with rules and to enforce them, but we want it to be an inclusive, fun community.
And there you go. Your life lessons will be patience, letting go,
Yes.
strategy,
Yes.
resilience.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, there's so many. I always quote Julia Roberts because she's been quoted talking about mahjong and how much she loves it. And she said that mahjong as a game is making order from chaos. And it's so accurate because, you're dealt this jumble of tiles and you have to figure out how to order them throughout. So, there's that one. Yes, there's definitely patience. Also, one of my favorites is letting yourself let go of something that seems like it should be good and the right fit, but isn't working for you, opens up the ability for something else better to come in. So that's one of my favorites.
I was playing this weekend with my family, and my sister in law Ashley goes, I don't want to get rid of this tile. It's just really pretty to look at.
Yeah,
Ashley,
well, that's very representative of a lot of things, right? We can I had a student the other day that was at something and she was like, "It's like Bachelor. I'm getting rid of this one."
that is so funny. Yeah, but I was just Marie Kondo it. It doesn't
Yeah, she if it doesn't give you joy,
get
I
rid of it.
get rid of it.
That's so funny.
Things like that. Just about also pivoting, like knowing when it's time to move on to something else. Um, you know, there's so many things. There's so many things. And it's also just, lessons for yourself, but also really self-care. And not even just there's a lot with memory, right? People talk about that with the brain, but also just I think there's so much sensory aspect to Maj and a lot of what you were talking about with the beautiful sets and it's tactile, it's visual. I find that it's very, therapeutic. And I've had so many people that leave and feel the same way.
So we just took a quick break because I actually wanted Brooke to set up a winning hand for us here. And I actually think, Brooke, that this is a great lesson for kids. My daughter is a mahjong shark. She loves to play. She loves to call people out. But I also think it's incredible for executive functioning skills and for kids' critical thinking. There's so much involved in play, not just creating, organizing your tiles, organizing everything that you see on the board, on the table, but just reading that card alone is a lesson in itself for these kids because there is so much going on that national mahjong card. There's colors, there's patterns, there's numbers, there's letters. I mean, it's complex for kids, and I'm actually really proud of her for catching on so quickly.
Yes. No, I love that kids are playing. I've actually taught a bunch of kids and it's something that we've been talking about expanding more because it's amazing for the brain, which we've talked about for kids too. And ironically, the kids catch on faster than the adults.
I believe
They grasp it really quickly. They love it. It has like that little competitive aspect to it. And it's just, they've actually shown how it's improved IQ and all different things. So it's amazing for kids. And that's actually one of the amazing things about Mahjong is it's generational. So everybody can play at a table.
You're listening to the Heart to Heart podcast with Christy Diaz for Heartful Living, where stories, connection, and intention guide everything we do. Interested in partnering with us? We're always open to collaborations that align with intention, creativity, and community. If you feel your brand is a match, we'd love to connect and explore what we can create together. And now back to listening. And anybody could just pick up the card at any age and really learn how to decipher it.
Yes.
I know that, for example, my Sherpa, again, Carrie Scotty in Texas, her son has one line memorized, and that's the one that he plays over and over. I guess it's what he feels more comfortable with.
Yes.
But for example, you showed us a winning hand here, for example.
Yes.
Talk to me about this winning hand. Would you say that this is like an easy one to learn to play?
I don't think any of them are necessarily easier or harder. Learning to play and then actually playing them are two different things, right? Because we know there's all these different rules that come into play of
Sure.
things like singles and pairs and things like that, right? This one is from the consecutive run section on the card, which a lot of people love, but a lot of people find it to be challenging at first because it has a lot of different variables, way that you can play it, right? So you can change it lots of different ways. But with this one, it shows you have, 4 different flowers. You're playing your flowers, and then it's 3 consecutive numbers.
Okay.
So one of the cool things about consecutive section is you can play any 3 consecutive numbers. One of the challenges is that it's always written with like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So
Okay.
you have to know that that means I can change it to any other consecutive number, and then it fits right into the pattern that you see, while also paying attention to the color changes because the colors have to do with the different suits that you play.
Right. And it's
So
not necessarily the color of a crack or the color of a BAM or a color of the
exactly.
dot.
Exactly. Color on the card simply tells you which parts are the same suit and which parts are different suits. It doesn't tell you anything about specific suits, which is why it gives you so many different options to play with. So, I mean, hands down, the most challenging part about the game of Mahjong is figuring out which hand you're going to play.
Sure.
And one of those, again, big life lessons is to try to be adaptive and be open as things go on instead of having, a fixed type of a mindset about things. So, it definitely takes practice. And I know at the beginning, sometimes we tell people it's better to just pick 1 or 2 once you get there, right? There's different phases of the game. There's the Charleston and, all these different aspects of the game where you do different things at different times to help you with that card. And that's kind of part of why we do our lessons the way that we do, so that everything's kind of broken down and it kind of shows you how to go throughout the whole game.
So there is a learning curve to this game, and you are a Mahjong instructor. So how do you set up your instruction?
So typically, we have 2 different options. I offer a boot camp. I have 2 different boot camps, a boot camp 1, a boot camp 2, and then something after called Beyond the Basics. The point of the boot camps are really for people who want to be able to pick a date and they want to come, and maybe they don't have their group, they don't have people to play with, or they want to bring their friends. We do them in restaurants, right? And the boot camp, or the Intro to Mahjong boot camp, is 2 to 2.5 hours, and we work the entire time. We start with different types of, talking about tiles like we did today, but we get into different types of exercises. We try to have everybody understand like what Mahjong even looks like, just like the hand that we just displayed here, what it how to even make that hand before you even learn how to play. So you know what you're working for.
Right.
And then we go through all the different stages of the game step by step so that by the end you've been introduced to everything. And then we build on that in other lessons. Some people like to have private lessons. They have their groups and they want somebody to just come and teach them. And with those, it's a little bit more dependent on what the group itself needs. So
I foresee lots of birthday party promotion here.
it's great for birthday parties. It's great for anything. We've done corporate events. There's a lot of team building aspects to it.
That.
I worked with a PTA board the other day that wanted a team building activity at the beginning of the school year, and we did things with partners. And it's a really valuable way to bring everybody to the table.
I love
So,
that. So how
yeah.
can people find you? Because I'm sure you're gonna be seeing a lot of people from the Heartful Living community that wanna learn to play.
Well, I hope so because my whole thing is about like spreading the magic of American Mahjong and wanting people to figure out how to make it more of a lifestyle. So I have an Instagram page that's at Maj with Brooke, and Gabby and I have our Instagram at Maj and Miami. Independently, we do things with lessons, we do things with events, but together we have the league, we have social events, we do larger parties, corporate events, and things like that. So Instagram, I always say, is the easiest place to find us because we post everything there. I also have a newsletter, and people can message me. They message me on Instagram all the time to set things up. So
I slid into her DMs
it's true.
too, and she answered immediately because, of course, Miami being the big little city it is, we have how many people in
I
common
know,
now?
right? We every day we find somebody else.
Exactly. So, Brooke, I can't thank you enough
Thank you.
for helping me spread the good word.
Yes.
And I just want to close out by asking you how Mahjong has shaped your idea of intentional living.
I think we life gets so fast, right? They say like the days are long and the years are short, and
Yeah.
and time flies by, and we're so busy, we're so scheduled. Mahjong to me is being able to be intentional and take the time to sit down, to take me time for yourself, to benefit yourself. And it's opened up the doors to so many different experiences and people for me. And I've just really hoped to share that with other people. It's actually been my pleasure the past it's been less than a year that we've actually started teaching and doing events and seeing all the people that now play and what it's done for their lives and how much they're enjoying it is just like such a nice thing to see because we need more good. We need less Lindas. We need less Lindas, more, happy moments. I have people come to my boot camps and they are so different, different ages, different backgrounds, different, lifestyles. And everybody has always gotten along and they feel like they're like a little family by the end. So it's been a really nice thing to see because things aren't always so nice out there.
Absolute. Well, there you have it, my friends. I told you guys somehow I would find Maj's way back to Miami. Little did I know that it was already here. I am so excited to be joining the Miami Maj community and join the fun. This game is sweeping the nation. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I know that once you guys start drinking it too, I'll be seeing you at all of these wonderful events with Brooke and companies. Thank you so much for joining me today. And Brooke, thank you so much for being here.
And thank you. I'm so glad that you found us.
That's all for today, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Bye.